My beloved child, before you hear another word, come close to me for just 10 seconds. Stop trying to hold everything together. Put down the pressure to have all the answers. Release the burden of pretending that you are stronger than you truly feel. Let me wrap my arms around you in a strong embrace. Breathe slowly. Rest your weary heart against mine. Feel my peace reaching the hidden places inside you where anxiety has quietly settled, where disappointment has taken up residence, and where exhaustion has become so familiar that you no longer notice its weight. I know the tears you hide behind polite smiles. I know the nights when you scroll, work, distract yourself, or stay awake simply because you do not want to sit alone with your thoughts. I know the prayers that have grown shorter because you are afraid to hope again, and I want you to know this before anything else. This message did not find you by accident, long before you arrived here. I saw the condition of your heart. I saw you standing at the edge of another season carrying a weak flame, tired feet, and a confused spirit. That is why I brought you here today, because there is something happening within you that you cannot yet see, and if you walk away too soon, you may miss the very thing you have been praying for all along. My child, there are battles that do not announce themselves with chaos, tragedy, or visible storms. They arrive quietly. They enter through small compromises, endless distractions, unhealthy attachments, and habits that seem harmless at first. They slowly drain your spiritual strength until you wake up one day wondering why prayer feels difficult, why worship feels empty, and why your soul feels distant even though you still believe in me. You think you have failed because your emotions no longer overflow when you worship, or because your prayers seem dry and distracted. But beloved, that is not failure. A branch does not wither the moment it becomes disconnected from the tree. It remains green for a little while before dryness begins to show. In the same way, your soul was never created to survive on effort, routine, or self-discipline alone. It was designed to live from connection with me. Prayer was never meant to become another obligation. My word was never intended to become a task on a checklist. They are the places where your soul breathes again. They are not rituals. They are refuge. They are not habits. They are weapons. And before I allow you to step into the next season I have prepared for you, I want to restore what has been quietly running empty inside you. Do you remember Moses standing on the hill while Israel fought below? As long as his hands remained lifted, the people prevailed. But when exhaustion overtook him, his hands grew heavy and victory seemed to slip away. Yet the miracle was not found in Moses being endlessly strong. The miracle was found in his willingness to admit his weakness and allow Aaron and Hur to support him. I never intended for my children to fight every battle through their own determination. I never asked you to become strong before coming to me. Faith is not a mask you wear to hide your cracks. Faith is the trembling hand you raise when you no longer have strength to stand by yourself. I see how often you brace yourself simply to appear fine. I see the trembling hidden beneath your calm voice. I see the effort it takes to smile while your heart feels heavy. But beloved, I am not asking you to perform strength for me. I am asking you to surrender. I am asking you to release what is crushing you so that I can carry what you were never meant to carry alone. Because there are battles you cannot win through striving, but you will overcome completely through surrender. My beloved child, there are things in your life that you must be willing to step away from, not because I delight in taking things from you, but because I love you too much to watch them continue draining the life I placed within you. Some conversations leave your spirit heavier every time they end. Some relationships slowly leak your peace. Some distractions seem innocent, yet they quietly rob you of intimacy with me. They are like tiny holes in a vessel, allowing living water to escape while you keep wondering why you remain exhausted. But hear me clearly. I will never ask you to surrender something without preparing something better in its place. What I have reserved for you is always greater than what I invite you to release. I am not trying to diminish your life. I am preparing you to enter a season with restored strength, renewed vision, and a heart capable of carrying what is coming next. And what I want to show you about the silence you have been experiencing may completely change the way you understand every unanswered prayer, every closed door, and every lonely night you have endured. My beloved child, there is something I want you to understand about silence, because many people abandon their faith in seasons when they cannot hear my voice as clearly as they once did. They assume silence means distance. They believe unanswered prayers mean rejection. They conclude that because circumstances have not changed, I must no longer be moving in their lives. But I want you to know that some of my deepest works happen beneath the surface, in places your eyes cannot see and your emotions cannot measure. A seed buried beneath the soil experiences darkness long before it experiences sunlight, yet it is not forgotten. It is developing roots. In the same way, I have been developing strength within you that comfort could never produce. I have been teaching you to trust me beyond feelings, beyond visible evidence, and beyond timelines that seem reasonable to human understanding. The nights you considered empty were often the nights I was removing fears, exposing unhealthy dependencies, and teaching your heart to seek my presence more than my gifts. Do not let temporary silence convince you that I have stepped away. I have been closer than you realize, preparing you for a season that requires a deeper faith than the one you carried before. My beloved child, comparison has quietly stolen enough joy from your heart. You look around and watch other people celebrating breakthroughs while you are still learning how to survive another day. You see restored families, open doors, answered prayers, and opportunities unfolding for others. And a small voice inside you asks, "What about me?" But beloved, you cannot compare stories when you cannot see the entire process. Some people are walking through seasons of harvest while you are still growing roots. Others are enjoying blessings that required years of preparation you never witnessed. What appears easy from a distance may have been purchased through hidden tears, painful lessons, and long periods of waiting. I have never forgotten your name, nor have I misplaced the promises I whispered into your spirit. I am not delaying because I enjoy watching you struggle. I am protecting you from receiving something too soon and ensuring that when the blessing arrives, it strengthens your relationship with me rather than replacing it. What belongs to you cannot be stolen by another person's progress, because I do not distribute purpose according to competition. I release it according to preparation. I also want you to understand that exhaustion does not mean you are defeated. Even the strongest believers become tired. Even faithful hearts experience moments when worship feels difficult, prayer feels weak, and hope feels fragile. But weariness is not proof that you have failed. It is often an invitation to stop relying on your own strength and begin resting in mine. Too many of my children spend their lives striving, trying to earn peace, trying to maintain appearances, and trying to carry burdens that I never asked them to hold. They become experts at surviving while forgetting how to abide. But I never intended for you to merely survive another season. I want you to live with peace that remains when circumstances shift, with joy that survives disappointment, and with confidence that comes from knowing you are deeply loved. Stop measuring your spiritual health by how productive you feel. Instead, measure it by how willing you are to come to me honestly. Bring me your weakness. Bring me your doubts. Bring me the thoughts you are afraid to admit to anyone else. I would rather receive your honest heart than a polished performance, because healing begins the moment pretending ends. So today, my beloved child, I ask you to stop fighting battles that belong in my hands. Release the pressure to control every outcome. Release the fear that you have missed your opportunity. Release the belief that your mistakes have permanently damaged your future. I have not brought you this far to abandon you in the middle of the journey. I carried you through nights when anxiety stole your sleep. I sustained you through seasons when disappointment nearly convinced you to stop praying. I remained faithful when your own strength failed. And I remain faithful now. Rest if you are weary. Sit quietly in my presence if words no longer come easily. Cry if your heart feels overwhelmed. But do not walk away. Do not surrender the promises I planted within you. Because what I want to reveal next about the wounds you have learned to hide, the fears you have silently carried, and the restoration I have already begun preparing for your life may completely transform the way you see your past, your present, and the beautiful future waiting just ahead. My beloved child, There are wounds within you that you have learned to carry so quietly that even the people closest to you no longer realize they exist. You became skilled at functioning while hurting, smiling while grieving, and encouraging others while your own heart was growing tired. You convinced yourself that numbness was peace, that isolation was strength, and that surviving each day was enough. But I never intended for pain to become your permanent home. I never asked you to bury your tears, silence your questions, or pretend that disappointments did not affect you. I saw every moment you swallowed your emotions because you feared becoming a burden. I saw every memory that still returns unexpectedly, every rejection that left you doubting your worth, and every secret fear whispering that perhaps you will never fully heal. But hear me now. I am not intimidated by your broken places. I am not waiting for you to become whole before I draw near to you. I move toward wounded hearts, weary souls, and trembling spirits because restoration has never begun with perfection. It begins with surrender. The healing you long for is not found in pretending that nothing hurts. It begins the moment you allow me into the places you have spent years protecting from everyone else. Because what I am about to reveal may help you understand why I have never stopped pursuing your heart. My beloved child, the enemy wants you to believe that your story is defined by what happened to you. It wants you to believe that betrayal determines your identity, that failure determines your future, and that painful experiences determine your value. But I never called you according to your wounds. I called you according to your purpose. Before disappointment ever visited your life, I knew your name. Before rejection ever touched your heart, I had already chosen you. Before fear ever tried to silence your voice, I had already prepared works for you to accomplish. The battles you survived were not evidence that I abandoned you. Many of them became the very places where compassion, wisdom, patience, and deeper faith began to grow within you. One day, the tears you cried in private may become the testimony that keeps someone else from giving up. One day, the pain you thought would destroy you may become proof that my grace carried you through seasons you never imagined surviving. That is why I do not want you to despise your journey. I want you to trust that even the hardest chapters are being woven together into something beautiful, because there is still another truth you need to hear before this message ends. My beloved child, I do not want you waking up tomorrow expecting disappointment. I want you to wake up expecting my goodness. I want you to pray again with confidence, worship again with freedom, and dream again with anticipation. You do not need to understand every detail of my plan in order to trust me. A child does not need to know every destination while walking beside a loving father. The child simply trusts the hand that is guiding them. In the same way, I ask you to trust my heart when you cannot trace my footsteps. Continue taking small steps of obedience. Continue thanking me before the answer arrives. Continue believing that I am working even when emotions suggest otherwise. Faith does not deny pain. Faith chooses to believe that pain will not have the final word. Faith decides that fear will no longer sit on the throne of your heart. Faith keeps moving forward even when the path ahead seems unclear, because every act of trust today is quietly preparing you for the season you have prayed for through countless nights of waiting. And now, my beloved child, hear these words and place them deep within your spirit. Do not stop now. Do not become someone who turns back moments before seeing the very breakthrough they spent years asking me to provide. Let your story be different. Let it be said that even when your hands trembled, you kept holding on. Even when tears filled your eyes, you kept walking. Even when answers delayed and doors remained closed, you refused to surrender your faith. I am not merely preparing a temporary blessing for you. I am teaching you to live with deeper peace, stronger trust, greater wisdom, and an unshakable confidence that you are fully known, deeply loved, and never abandoned. Stay close to me. Return to me daily, even if all you have are a few honest words and a willing heart. Keep moving forward one faithful step at a time, because the page you believed was ending is actually the first page of a beautiful new beginning that I have been writing for you all along. Very soon, you will understand why I never allowed you to give up, and you will see that every tear, every delay, Every unanswered question and every hidden battle was leading you toward a future more beautiful than you ever imagined.